Welcome back, and we are here with Anushra and Indiana, and they are Canada's first Bollywood fusion in heels dance duo, and we'll explain what that means very, very shortly. They are also from BollyHeelsTO, that is their company. Welcome to the Dance Book Show.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'm fascinated by just the phrase Bollywood in heels. Fusion is interesting too, but Bollywood in heels, just we have to find out a little bit more about that. But before we do, I want to know a little bit about your background. Tell me how you got into dance, and then how you met up, and how you started the project that we're going to talk about.
Well, I got into dance when I was probably 4.5 years old. I was fascinated with classical Indian dancing, from the costumes to the jewelry to the makeup. And I kept on telling my mom, put me in class, put me in class. And then she finally did when I was 4.5 years old. And this was when I lived in the States. So yeah, I've been learning since then, and learning kind of all around the world. In Sweden, from a Swedish lady that actually went to India to learn and bring back the dance form to teach it there in Sweden, to a couple of places around in the States, to India and in Canada. So that has been my foundation in dance. Then I used to compete at a lot of different dance competitions when I was in university. Then when I moved to Toronto, Toronto is just there's so many different dance forms here in Toronto to learn, and so many different instructors. So I kind of expanded from there to a lot of different styles of dance, a lot of Western styles of dance, and here I am now.
And Indiana, what did your journey look like?
I was born in Bombay. I just moved to Toronto 3 years ago. So my dad enjoys playing Indian classical instruments. So he would play that to me from the day I was born. And when I was 2, I saw him teach Indian classical dance to like kids in our area. And so I was always been a witness to my dad teaching it. And I think that's how I got into it with Indian classical. And I think at the age of like 18 or 19, I watched Chicago and watched the number All That Jazz. And I was like, oh my God, what is this dance style? Because back in India, we didn't know of ballet or jazz or contemporary, any of that. Going back, I won't reveal my age, but going back a few years ago. So I was so fascinated. And then I started looking for classes, but I only found one ballet company in the whole country, which was not in my city. So I flew out for like an hour and a half flight to try out a ballet class try a few ballet classes for a month and see if I really enjoyed this, and I actually wanted to switch over from this being a hobby to a profession. And yeah, since then I've from Indian classical to Indian folk to ballet, contemporary, jazz, and then I secured a place at a full-time dance school in London, England, and I graduated from there 3 years ago, wanting to be in West End, but she can't sing. So that was out of the picture. And then, yeah, somehow I ended up in Toronto, and here I am, loving what I do, and I still dance. I still work in the film and TV industry. So, yay.
How did the two of you meet? How did you find each other? And then when did you decide to get together and actually work together?
Yeah,
Um,
it was through a mutual friend, an acquaintance that we both knew of. I met this girl through the Army of SAS, which is a heels training company based in Toronto. So she brought Indiana to my attention, saying, "Hey, I think you guys should meet and connect." And then, yeah, we just met up one day at a studio that I was teaching at, and we choreographed a piece, and we said, "Hey, we work well together." And it kind of all started from there.
What would Bollywood fusion mean? And then how do you do that in heels?
well, with Bollywood, we always like to explain that it's a film industry and not necessarily a dance style. So it's all the dances that you see in a Bollywood movie or a Bollywood song is usually a fusion of that itself is a fusion of Indian classical or inspired from Indian folk or hip hop. So it has grown a lot over the years. And since both of us are trained in so many other styles, we didn't want to be limited to Bollywood and then explore more with other styles. And then also working with Toronto dancers, we can connect well because, and it's also learning about their culture. So there was so much more depth and room to it being a Bollywood infusion. And then the heels was the added skill because we both love dancing in heels. She was, I think you were training at Army of Sass,
Yeah.
and that's where she picked up heels. And I watched Giannis Marshall on YouTube and I was fascinated by that, and that's how I picked up heels. And I was in India, she's in Canada, we're both thinking hashtag BollyHeels. And we had this idea, but she already had put out an Instagram page which I didn't know of. And what, I think 2 or 3 years later we meet and I was like, oh my God, I have the same idea. She's like, yeah, me too. And I was like, what's your thing called? I said, I have a hashtag called BollyHeels. She's like, yeah, I have an Instagram account called BollyHeels.
Who takes the class? Who is your traditional person that comes and says, I need to learn Bollywood and I want to learn it with some North American feel, and then I want to do that in heels?
I think we have dancers from all sorts of background because they like to see how we bring it all together with our folk dance and with our Indian classical, and especially when it comes to like doing all the gestures with your fingers. And they're so fascinated by how our fingers just change and move, and they'll literally go to bed like just gluing their fingers together, being like, okay, this, I have a performance tomorrow and my fingers need to do this. So yeah, and then we have a lot of beginners, and I think we've attracted crowd mostly from our content because it's a pretty new concept with Bollywood and heels and fusion. So I think we've attracted a lot of students of ours from.
Yeah, and I think it like just ranges from like complete beginners that are very much interested in Bollywood that have never even tried heels before, so they will experience it all, to like, you know, professional Toronto dancers that dance for a living that join in on our concept videos, on our live performances. It's pretty much everyone.
What are the core values that you'll be teaching? What comes with the performances?
Yeah, I think, you know, we always promote inclusivity of individuals, diversity, and to create a very inclusive space where it's a sense of community and where you really get to know one another, regardless of their body type, their gender, their background. Like, everyone is the same, and we're all here to be learning something new. That's what we try to promote.
What is the main takeaway that you hope that your students will leave with after they've taken a class or several classes with you?
I think it's always to be learning something new and to expanding their dance knowledge, no matter if they're a beginner or a professional. Also, the history behind a lot of these dances that we're teaching. That's something new that no one has probably encountered when it comes to their dance education. You know, like the names of the different hand gestures that we'll be talking about, any like meaning behind them in terms of the dance that we're actually showing and the use of those hand gestures, different movement that they can incorporate in any, you know, choreographed piece that they potentially would want to do. Yeah, so we're hoping that they could always take these elements and even share it with others. Yeah.
What are the plans in the future? Where do you want to see, BollyHeels be, maybe let's say in 5 years?
We definitely, before COVID hit, I think we were planning our North America tour with workshops.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we'd definitely love to go around like GTA to start with, Ontario, and then expand into America and around the world. And other thing that we're aspiring to do is to choreograph for film and TV as well.
I wish you nothing but success. I hope you'll keep in touch with us and let us know what you're doing. If you are running some type of event where people can get involved, I'd love to let our viewers know, because I'm certain right now they're intrigued. We are going to show a demo reel, which is some of the work that you've done, some of your performances, and I think that'll give people a really good indication of what BollyHeels is all about. So I want to thank you, Anushra, sorry. and Indiana. Thank you so much for joining us on the Dance Bug Show, and I hope we'll get to see you in the future as you continue to expand Bolly Heels.
Thank you.
So much for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. We'll watch that demo now. You have a great rest of the
And
winter.
we'll see you in class soon.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's a promise. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So please welcome Anusha and Indiana. They're founders of BollyHeelsTO.